Hi everybody, it's Michelle here again with birthuhura. Here at birthuhura, I am a full spectrum plant-based holistic doula and an advocate for all things safe, natural, and effective. Here on this channel, we discuss all things related to birth, pregnancy, and womb health. So if you guys like the content, you like what you hear on the channel, please be sure to subscribe. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about and discussing birth trauma. And I just want to have like a simple conversation about what birth trauma is and what it looks like so that we know what we're dealing with when we see it, and we know if it's something that has happened in the past, so that we as doulas and healers and supporters can show up for the people who we support, right? So birth trauma is basically just either a traumatic event or some sort of distress that happens to the birthing family, but most importantly, the woman, in the time of labor, birth, and up until right after the birth experience. So this can look like a lot of different things. Like birth trauma can come from so many different um, areas. It can be a result of a very painful birth. It can be um, due to the fact that the birthing family's birth desires is not happening the way they want to. So like their birth plan is like not going according to what they expected at all. Some type of medical emergency, a C-section, not being heard, being isolated. It's so many different things that can happen. Injury to mom or baby during the process, loss. It's just so many different things that could happen. Obstetric assault, when we're talking about birth trauma. But how we usually identify birth trauma is looking out for the signs of PTSD, and that's post-traumatic stress syndrome, right? And that can show up in a lot of different ways as well. You can see it in the form of shock. You can see it in the form of panic. You can see it in the form of emotions, just bursting into crying. Some people deal with it. It's just so many ways that can, people cope. So it's really important that we learn about this because everybody is going to handle trauma differently, right? Um, Especially even in different settings, and over time it will look like something else. So even postpartum mood disorder can have a connection to birth trauma. And it gets tricky because we start to see families that or women who have a hard time bonding with their newborn babies. This can be a large result of birth trauma. I know a lot of times it can be past issues, sexual assault. So many different things can come up, aversions, but a lot of times when mom, we see her, she's so ready and excited to have her baby, and she's thriving, and then something goes wrong and something happens, and then she's just not connecting to the baby. And it's because a lot of times we are silenced. A lot of times women are told that, oh, it's okay because as long as the baby is healthy, everything is fine. And I spoke about this in a different video before, but that is not um, acceptable. And that is not going to help mom cope or heal, transition, be a better person, be a better anything. Like, it's not going to help her. So I really want to get out of the context and out of the idea of saying things like as long as the baby is healthy, because if mom is not thriving and healthy and alive, how can baby have a thriving environment, an environment that will support the child and will provide a loving environment for that baby? It just doesn't work that way, right? So when we look at birth trauma, we have to address the causes. We have to allow space for mom and family to discuss it openly and freely. We have to hold people accountable. Um, we have to give resources and tips and ideas to step into a place of healing, to step into how we cope with trauma, because it is very common. Birth trauma is very common, even though it is not normal. It shouldn't be normal at all. It shouldn't be normalized. It shouldn't be like, oh, that's just what comes with the territory of having a baby, because having a baby should be amazing and empowering and awesome. And yes, it is. It does get intense, and there will be some sort of pain the way we view and think of pain, but it should never be horrifying. We should never find women saying, "Oh, I will never have it. I'm so afraid and I'm never having a child again because I went through too much, or the experience was brutal." It should never, we should never hear that, and that's very sad, because I often hear these statements, and women are just like, I am so afraid, I don't want to have another baby, and I don't want, to experience that again. Or they do get pregnant and it's like the same merry-go-round, like they are so scared and they're doubting themselves, and they're like, what if this happens, and what if that happens, and that does nothing but bring about those things. That does nothing but pull towards you the thing that you are focusing on. So it's important to get out of the cycle. But one thing I do want to discuss quickly is that let's not do the same thing expecting a different result. Let's not pick the same providers. Let's not go to the same hospital where we had these horrible experiences. Let's not have another baby by a partner that wasn't supportive, or that was involved in the idea of what birth trauma looked like for you. Let's not continue to allow uh, birth companions or support people that are not informed, or that are not seeing your vision and do not agree with the way you feel your birth should look like. So these things have to be um, addressed. They have to something that we have to take responsibility for as birthing women, but we cannot go into the situation having had a really horrible experience last time, um, and then do the same thing and choose the same people and choose the same settings, and not educate ourselves and go into it with blind eyes like once before. We have to do something different. We have to learn, educate ourselves, fuel ourselves, empower ourselves, motivate ourselves, and take care of you. Take care of you so that it does not happen like that again, and that you can heal. Because sometimes healing happens. Yes, it's a process and you go through a healing, but sometimes healing happens when you get the experience that you're looking for, and when you can take that big breath of relief and say, I did what I believe that I always could do. So that's important. That's important. And as doulas, I encourage, especially the new doulas coming into the birth work world, to get informed about birth trauma. Know what you're looking at and know how to deal with it. I want to give a special shout out to Necca Hall. She is so great when addressing those things. I think everybody should do a course with her. Everybody should do a class with her um, on how to look at birth trauma. She does a great pregnancy and infant loss course that I had taken, and it was amazing. I loved everything about it. But she definitely does teach and educate and inform you about birth trauma and what it looks like and how to address it. Even the birthing people can use it, even if it's not, as a doula, but all of us can benefit. I took her course twice actually, so it was amazing, because I just felt like it was so much to wrap your head around, and I wasn't able to really dig in the first time, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it again, because it was that good. It was that much eye-opening, and I just really think that it is important for us to have keepers of that type of information. And she specializes in that. She's great, she's amazing, and she's always on point. So yeah, check her out. And that's pretty much my take on birth trauma. I want anybody who has experienced birth trauma to drop, your experience, if you're comfortable, in the comments. Tell how you healed from it. Tell how you became a better person and how you were able to use that as a way to move forward and teach other people, or just give tips to people who are struggling with it and how they can, things that can help with that. And so, yeah, I'm Nichelle, and I'm a full spectrum holistic doula at birthuhura. I thank you guys so much for coming in and tuning in. And I will see you guys for the next video. If you guys have questions or a topic that you have not heard me talk about that you would like me to talk about, please reach out to us at birthuhura@gmail.com. I will see you guys for the next video. Peace and pregnancy deaths.